Remakes. They're everywhere. Many games released nowadays are just remakes of old titles that were stuck in bygone eras. They rebuild the original, retaining the core spirit that made it so beloved in the first place, while simultaneously modernizing it for new audiences. This is the goal of every remake, but how they achieve that goal is never the same. There's a lot of power in these developers' hands as they get to decide just how much they want to change from the original. That power must be used responsibly. If they're not careful, their hands will... Where am I going with this? I thought I was cooking with this intro, but now I just kind of feel stupid. I mean, this stuff doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to say is that Star Ocean: The Second Story Arc is a good game. But more importantly, this game is a perfect example of what a remake of a classic RPG should be. There's something so uniquely beautiful about this game that's quite different from a game like Octopath Traveler. They both try to mimic the art style of old RPGs. However, this isn't trying to mimic the games from the SNES era. The only thing that's created in pixels here are the characters and creatures you encounter. In fact, they're basically ripped straight from the original. But everything else you'll encounter, from the trees, the rocks, the mountains, the houses, the buildings, it's all natural and more realistic. You can see the individual blades of grass blowing in the wind, while light is shining through the trees in the forest. The texturing of the houses reveal wood and bricks, and along the paths, you can see some rocks dotting the area. This contrast is quite significant. The more I look at this game, the more it feels like this is a modernized take of the art style of RPGs from the PlayStation 1 era. When you look at a bunch of RPGs from the PlayStation 1 era, you'll notice that most of them use pre-rendered backgrounds. They were created with such incredible detail to the point where it's borderline realism. And the remake does a lot to mimic that approach, only this time it has the technology to actually create it in a 3D space. And the game does so much to preserve the look of the original. Inside buildings and certain dungeons, the camera is placed in a top-down perspective. And inside towns and certain environments, the camera will pan to follow your character's movements, but it can lead into some incredible shots that showcase the landscape and architecture. Pre-rendered backgrounds is a dying art, okay? So unfortunately, if you prefer pre-rendered backgrounds, yeah, it sucks to suck. I get why though, but like, come on, this looks so good. Seriously, this game is just full of detail. It's kind of insane. Also, I love this game's character art. I am a sucker for good art. This was literally the main reason why I wanted to play this game. Gameplay? Nah, get that out of here. Nah, this is what I'm talking about, baby. I wish I was a much better artist so I can actually explain why I like it so much. But like, it's the way that they're just drawn, the level of detail in these characters and their clothes, the shading, the color. It's just, I need to know who this artist is, okay, bro? It's just too good. I can see the brush strokes. I can't get enough of this game. Visually, it's just incredible. The lighting, the effects, the texture, everything. It respects so much of the original's art style while adding so much more to it to make it more visually impactful. And all of this is highlighted by this game's incredible soundtrack. Do you ever take a moment to pause and just listen to the music? There's a sort of ethereal feeling conveyed with some of these songs that I just can't help but admire. Some of these songs exude such a joy that you just can't help but smile and recognize that this town is in a festive mood. Some of these songs are slow and more low-key, which happens to fit a lot of these villages that seem to be disconnected from the world's problems. This music breathes life into this game and really makes the visuals that much more impactful. I really could just sit here and stare at the visuals, listening to the rearranged tracks while my mind drifts away, feeling at ease. And then you have songs that feels like the composer personally wants to attack your ears with their keyboard. But it is kind of heat though. Okay, basically the soundtrack is top tier, okay? I don't know what else to tell you. However, if you aren't vibing to the rearranged tracks, or if you're a little bit curious about the originals, well, this game got you covered. Playing through this game with the original soundtrack is just as valid as playing with the rearranged tracks. Like, damn, it's still so good. Motoi Sakuraba's compositions hold up so well even after all this time. It's clear that a lot of care was put into the music, and it's great that the game gives you the option to indulge in your nostalgia. Honestly, I don't even know if I prefer the original or the new tracks. I'm kind of stuck. All I can really say is that this game's combat go crazy.
Here they come!
We better be careful!
This game is a chaotic mess. Everybody is screaming the name of their attacks while a barrage of special effects and sounds play on top of each other. I have no idea what's going on half the time. It's great. You can switch characters, use items, spam attacks, issue spells, spam more attacks, perfect dodge, and break enemies so that you can spam more attacks. Just spam. We can even summon other characters that are not participating in battle as an assist. This is just a fighting game now. Like, it's actually so cool. They also got rid of the random encounters. Instead, battles are initiated by approaching these shadowy orbs. I do not remember what they're called.
Oh, hello there. I wasn't paying attention.
If you manage to sneak up behind them, you can start the battle with an advantage.
No, shit.
Anyways.
Oh shit, the minecart.
You can even link multiple enemies together to fight them in a sequence, which will make grinding easier because you get those sweet, sweet multipliers. There's a lot to love about the core combat system. It's simple, yet challenging, especially if you play on the harder difficulty. Kind of reminds me of my playthrough of First Departure R. Ha ha. I actually think I hate this game. There's probably a bunch of more things I could talk about, but I feel like the gameplay speaks for itself. It's fun, but it is only half of the game.
Anyone hurt? How'd that one feel?
Can you like hurry up? The other half is with the skill system, since they are quite possibly the most important aspect of the game, since they can let you unlock specialties. It's such a useful system. Its effects can range from allowing you to create items to making it easier to level up. It's even possible for you to break the game early. I don't know how to do that. But the real victory here is with the quality of life improvements. Want to level up a group of skills for a specific specialty? Boom. Want to see what you can potentially make and your chance of success? Boom. Want to know which talents and special items you need to boost the range of words? It feels like the game isn't withholding information from me. I don't have to take a guess or rely on a guide to understand this system. It's so much better than Star Ocean First Departure R. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I hate this game. The menus might be a bit intimidating. There's a lot to digest here. But the more you spend time here, and believe me, you'll be spending a good chunk of your time just fiddling away with the skills, things will start to click. There's something to be said about this game's story, but I just don't know what. While on a mission with his father Ronix, Claude gets sent to the planet Expel due to an accident. There he saves a girl named Reyna, who mistakes him as the fabled hero of light, the supposed savior of the world.
Well, I mean, I'm not a hero. I don't have any kind of power like that. I don't even have any idea what's going on here. How can you expect me to save anyone at all?
The planet is currently suffering from monster attacks and earthquakes, all caused by this meteorite called the Sorcery Globe. And after becoming acquainted with the small village of Arlia and resolving some weird fan behavior,
We're in love with each other. Love with each other.
the pair set off on a journey to solve the mystery of the Sorcery Globe. But both of them have their own goals. Claude is trying to find a way back home, and Reyna is trying to learn more about her past. Over the course of the story, you'll meet new characters you can recruit into your party, explore some towns, solve some problems, and learn more about the Sorcery Globe, its origin, and those that were responsible. And we get to see a lovely relationship develop between Claude and Reyna. This game really likes to push these two together. Of the characters you can recruit into your party, none of them are really necessary. It's mainly about Claude and Reyna. Though it's quite surprising how involved some of these characters were with the plot. It felt like they actually had a presence. They won't change the direction or outcome of the story, and some of the things they say is just short little one-liners. But it's nice that they add something to remind you that they're not just window dressing. You know, except Welch. The story is centered around these two perspectives. Since Claude and Reyna are both protagonists, the game lets you choose which perspective you want to experience the story from. The overall story is still the same regardless of who you pick, but there are little differences that make playing through each perspective worth it. There were moments where they both separated from each other. You can listen to their thoughts, and you can learn more about their specific backstory. There were some engaging twists, funny moments, and surprising developments that really made me say, wow, they really did that. Also, Reina's backstory kinda hits. I'm not sure if I would go so far as to say that this story is amazing, but I will say I can appreciate, maybe even love the journey I went through with these characters.
You'll see after I beat you down.
Your healing spell is really something, Reina.
I just did what I could. You say something like that.
Cross swords may not be so far away.
Back on a billion people.
Reina, you alright?
My own son.
I can smell something whenever you're around.
Yeah, I guess I haven't bathed lately.
Okay. What? It's everything you could ever want out of a remake of a classic RPG. Seriously, as a remake, it's kind of difficult to find many flaws with this game. There's so many quality of life improvements and little additions made that makes this game a joy to play through. I guess one issue I have to mention would be the voice acting. I don't hate it. It fits many of the characters well. It's just that at the midpoint of the game, there is an echo that appears in the middle of a conversation, which is a little bit jarring. It also would have been nice if we got 2 sets of English voice acting, just like with the Japanese. Also, I swear they got one guy voicing all the NPCs. I'm not going crazy, am I? Whatever, that doesn't really matter. What matters is whether or not this game will fit your taste. Maybe the art style doesn't hit as hard. Maybe the story isn't as engaging. Maybe spending time inside the menus doesn't sound so fun. Or maybe there's something that the original did better. But the game is still good. It screams quality. If you're still curious, try the demo out. If $50 feels a bit much, then just wait for a sale or skip it. But if you trust my word, then I'd say it's worth it. I got paralyzed. Save me.